Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is an Excalibur. It's a Tier 6 British premium tank destroyer. It's located on the south spawn of Lakeville, and this one is under the command of 73north. And apart from the fact that he's using premium consumables, can't see anything else. So he might have equipment, he might not. He'll probably tell us anyway. Game on! Well, this is an unusual tank because it's an experimental one that, well, they made a prototype, they didn't actually go ahead and build it. It's an amphibious tank destroyer, and it was also an airborne one because it was actually fairly light, and it was designed to be used or carried by an aircraft into battle. And in fact, we're going to see two replays, first featuring the Excalibur and another one featuring an American airborne tank. Okay, he's managed to get up to the choke point in the centre of the valley. He's waiting for the enemy to turn up. You'll notice that it's a very unusual tank because there's a kind of little turret right at the front of the vehicle. And that little turret is very small, but the rest of the body of the tank is actually behind it. It's a 76mm gun, which is capable of 150 alpha and 165mm of pen. And you can see that the fire rate is actually quite fast. 4.31 is the standard reload. He's got 3.58. Now, it never actually got built. It was a discontinued project in the 1960s. And it's now a reward tank on the second campaign for the missions. You can see it's actually getting quite a lot of damage on the enemy, but it's actually fairly vulnerable, this tank, because it doesn't have a whole lot of armor. Maximum armor on the front of the vehicle is 50mm, 25 on the sides or 30 on the turret, and well, the rear is very, very light indeed. Oh, and the reason for that lightness, of course, is down to the fact that, of course, it's an airborne tank, so you have to make it light so it'll go in an aircraft. In fact, if I remember correctly, this tank actually weighs only 30 tons in total. Yeah, 30 tons. You see, he's already picked up the high caliber provisionally by getting 20% of the enemy hit pool. It doesn't necessarily mean he will get the high caliber, because of course somebody else might pass him. But you can see he's pumping those shells into the enemy as fast as he can. And he needs to watch out because that thing is a 13cm main gun on a box tank. Now he's actually in a tier 6 game with tier 5 tank. Well, tier 5 tanks. And so he's actually doing quite well because it's a reduced numbers game. You know, you can see that little turret right at the front. Now, the thing about this vehicle is that it can hide the bulk of its mass behind some cover, some rock, and got the burst as it was running away. He actually set fire to it. He hit the engine bay, but you can see it can turn its turret sideways, so it can actually hide around the corner. Oh, that didn't work out so well, but the rest of the vehicle is covered and just the front of the turret is sticking out. Well, that Junior is trying to get shots on him, but now the Tog's moved up and the Tog got taken out, and I think it was the Junior that killed him. Yeah, so they're both pushing now. He's locked on, gets the kill, and the M10 RBFM was working alongside him. That was the guy the Junior was aiming at. Okay, going up onto this rise. We can now hit the bathtub, the S35CA. There's a P43 down there as well. Hello. We're hull down now. Oh, it's going to easily take that guy apart. And he's got 10 degrees of gun depression. That's why he could do that to the enemy. So he's up to 5 kills now. And he's going after this M10. And he goes in for the ram, and he gets a huge amount of damage, takes one hit, but then kills the guy. So that's his top gun. He's down to minimal hit points now, though. Only 69 left. but there's only 2 enemies left, and one of them is just around the corner, so he needs to be careful that that guy doesn't come back and try and kill him. The other one, the AMX CLC, is over on the other side of the lake, and he can hit him. He thinks he's in a safe position, but now he's running. Oh, and he gets the kill. Very nice. So he's got 7 kills, and that's it. The game's over. Well, it's a pity that he didn't get one more kill, because that would have given him a Radley Waters, but he did get something valuable. He got his first ace tanker out of that game. Yep, when you get scrolls, that's the first time you've managed to do it, and he managed to get an ace out of that game. He also got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He got a sharpshooter for getting 10 or more consecutive shots on the enemy. He got an arsonist because he set light to one of the enemy tanks, the Burza, hit the engine bay, went up in smoke, and then obviously he got the kill from that fire. And he got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, and a Hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy tanks or more. On top of that, he did get the high caliber because nobody else managed to beat him on the amount of damage he did. And he got Top Gun for getting 6 kills. In fact, he ended up with 7. As I said, that one short of getting a Radley Waters. That would have been really nice if it was a first ace game. His win rate from that one, 15,735, which is super unicum and a lot more. And I don't think he's actually had this tank destroyer very, very long. But it is one of those ones you have to earn off doing the second set of missions. So you have to have completed the first set before you can get one of these. Anyway, let's have a look at the team score. Well, there he is, right at the top of the table. And look at that, 4,147 hit points of damage. Just goes to show how dangerous the Excalibur is when it's played correctly. It is a mid-range attack tank. You wouldn't want to play this one up close with the enemy because of the lack of armor. But at a medium range with a hold down position, it can get a huge amount of damage. And he certainly did in this one. He outplayed everybody else because the next highest score was the M10 RBFM, who only had 1,385 hit points of damage. And after that, it was a 3-figure tank. It was the S35CA, the bathtub, who got 893. Was that? No, it's 803, not 893. So yes, he really did outperform everyone. When it came to kills, he's got that as well. 7 kills went to 73north, 3 kills went to the M10 RBFM, and 2 kills went to the T67. Only 4 players on the enemy team managed to get kills, and each of them only got 1 kill apiece. When it came to base XP, again, he's got that one. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. And his base XP was the only one to get over 1,000. In fact, he got 1,733, getting very close to 2,000 there. 616 went to the M10 RBFM, and 481 went to the T67 on his team. So, yeah, massive game there for 73 North. Let's have a look at detail. 38 shots fired, 35 direct hits, and 31 penetrations. 4,147 hit points of damage, of which 276 were at more than 300 meters. Those were the shots that he fired at the AMX CLC across the other side of the lake. Yes, it's very deadly, this tank, actually. If you, it does have a fairly good pen on standard shells and also a fairly good alpha for its tier. It could be do with a better tier alpha, though I suppose considering how much damage he managed to earn in this battle, probably you don't need it if he's handling it. He got 5 hits received from the enemy, all 5 penetrators. As I said, very little armor, so you don't want to be too close to the enemy because they will get their shells through. 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 7 destroyed, and he got 32 hit points, or 32 capture points rather, while he was sitting in the cap at the end of the game, waiting for the enemy to come around the corner. On a free-to-play account, he actually earned a loss of 39,931 credits. And again, it's down to ammo. He was using the premium ammo to make sure of the penetrations, and that's why he did so well. 30 bonds for mission achievement, and he got 3,812 experience points out of that one as well. So, yes, a very good game in the Excalibur. Shows how, with the premium rounds, it can actually be very deadly. And he certainly was in this one. But I think it was more impressive that he not only hid behind that rock, but he was in a hold-down position as well, and he was just pumping those rounds into the enemy tanks, trying to come up the center line, and they just weren't having any joy at all. So let's have a look at the second replay from 73 North. The second replay is in the M56 Scorpion, which is a Tier 7 American tank destroyer. It's located, and it's a premium as well, it's located on the south spawn of Fisherman's Bay, and he hasn't got the equipment showing on... Oh, he has. He's got binos on this one. Very light little tank destroyer, very effective with a 90mm gun. Game on. Well, originally it was designed to be an airborne tank destroyer, so it would actually be carried into battle or dropped from the air on a low altitude pallet delivery system. And, well, it actually has a 90mm gun, but when this gun fires, the vehicle literally leaps into the air because it's so much recoil. The hull is only 9 tons in weight. As I say, 90mm gun, capable of 240 alpha, 219mm of pen with standard ammo, and with the premium heat rounds, it can actually do 275mm of pen. So particularly effective with premium rounds. Say he does carry some HE rounds as well. They're capable of 320 alpha, but only 45mm of pen. And he's got 2 hits on a T29. This is a Tier 7 game with Tier 5 tanks in it. Now this vehicle saw, well, not this specific one, but the M56 Scorpion saw action in Vietnam. And he's just killed a T29. And he's got a fire on the Challenger. Looked like that guy got a manual fire extinguisher because it took a little while for the fire to go out. It didn't go out immediately. That would have been an automatic fire extinguisher. But when you see a little bit of fire come out and then obviously it suddenly stops, then somebody just hit the button. And he's pumped around into the Super Hellcat, who won't have been too happy about that. And that looks like that might have been another hit. And he's killed the Super Hellcat as well. Wow. So 2 mega kills in this game already from 73 North. Now he's just spotted. Oh, now that's the Bishop. He thought there might be an Arty there because you can see the tracer. And he pumped around into that guy. He's using the heat rounds though. He doesn't need heat. And he gets another kill, but he took a round from the KV-1. Now fully loaded with all the ammo, and you can see where the ammo is stacked. It's in the bottom tray of the vehicle. It's actually only 20 tons in weight. And that's why it can actually be delivered from the air. He's taking lots of fire from that KV-1. He needs to get out of there. But that shot gave him a high caliber. And he pumps one into the cupola of the A44. Does stick up rather effectively, doesn't it? He's using the wreck for cover. And one more shot and that A44 is going to be out of the game, but he doesn't want to flip over. This is a very light tank. He's just going to zoom around the corner. Thank you. Oh, his gun went down. You can see the shell hit the muzzle, not the muzzle breech, but the block. And unfortunately, he was ram killed. Oh dear, that didn't go down so well, but he did get virtually the highest damage in the game, and that was a kill by the Leffy on our team, who managed to hit the A44 with an accurate shell right from the back of the map. So yes, he did go down, but he did get 3 kills, and so far he has got the highest damage in the game. I reckon he probably could have gone on to kill most of the rest of the enemy team if he carried if he'd managed to hit that A44 in time. But the trouble is that A44 was lucky as hell that he managed to block the gun, or rather get a hit into the not the muzzle breech. It's not what I'm saying. It's the muzzle block. It was right at the mantlet that the shell impacted, And of course, it went straight through that armor because it's that plate is only 1 millimeter thick, and therefore it damaged the gun, stopped him firing. If he had fired at the right moment, that A44 would have been toast. I think he was just a little too aggressive, but he was working. It was generating huge amounts of damage on the enemy. Well, the enemy's now down to just 4 vehicles left. They just lost their M44, so now they've got 3. 2 of those are right down in the south of the map. All of the enemy that was on the east side of the map has gone. And the enemy have just lost their T52. So now they've only got 2 left, the KV-1S and a bathtub, an S35CA. And I'll hazard a bet that the bathtub is actually up in the north of the map, but over on the west side. Yes, he must be, because the KV-1's just gone into the cap and he's taking fire from the west side. And that's the 90mm gun from the bathtub doing that to him. That KV-1 could go down, actually. There's the bathtub. And in fact, now that bathtub is the last enemy tank in the game. And he's gone, and that's a victory. So I'm sorry we couldn't follow the battle, but I suppose you were looking at it with the mini-map. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was another first ace tanker for 73 North, this time in the Scorpion. So he's been getting a lot of them recently. He also managed to get a 5 pro effect for that game, as well as a master gunner for getting 5 armor-penetrating shots in a row, on top of which he got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 8. A high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, even though he died halfway through the battle. Yes, he still managed to get the highest damage because he was pumping out the damage to the enemy. And he also got a tank sniper as well for doing the most damage at a distance of 300 meters or more. His win rate in this one was 10,610, which of course is super unicum and quite a bit more again. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, this time round it's 3,857, only a tiny bit less than the last battle with the Excalibur. The second highest damage was the BZ58, who got 2,183. And the third highest damage, well, that turned out to be the A44 that killed him, who got 1,879 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, we can see that the high scorers again was 73 North, 3 kills to him, 3 kills to the BZ58. 2 kills went to the AMX AC46 on his team, who also picked up a steel wall, and the AMX13F3, who also got 2 kills, and the KV-1. And on the enemy team, their bathtub and their KV-1S both got 2 kills as well. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's done it again. So he's got the top in all 3 columns, and he's the only player to get over 1,000 base. He got 1,392 out of this one. 979 went to the BZ58 and 774 went to the MXAC46. He fired only 19 rounds. Well, how many rounds would he have fired if he actually continued the battle? Well, that's a good question, because this thing only carries 43 rounds of ammunition. So given that he died halfway through the battle, he might have run out of ammo if he carried on, and he could possibly have taken out virtually all the other remaining enemies, and that would have possibly ended up with another big medal like a Top Gun or a Radley's. He also got 17 direct hits on the enemy, 16 penetration, so good accuracy and good pen, but he was using premium rounds. 3,857 hit points of damage, of which 1,260 were at more than 300 meters. 3 hits received from the enemy, 2 of those penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and the non-penetration shot, if I remember correctly, might have been the A44 shot, because he was low on health actually at the time that he was hit by the A44. But that shell that went through his armor, actually through the gun, was the one that disabled him. And I think that was the non-penetrating shot, but the next one that hit him did pen and killed him. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, 3 were killed. He got 316 hit points of damage assistance, that's spotting assist actually. And on a free-to-play account, he actually made a profit of 28,583 credits. You can see his ammunition costs were quite high. And he also picked up 2,969 experience points out of that one as well. So yes, the M56 Scorpion It's quite an unusual thing when you see it for real, the actual one. It's only about the height of a standard man. It's that small, very small thing, but it has a lot of power in it in that 90mm round. And as I said, it could leap into the air every time it fired. Well, it was carrying so much recoil that it had to distribute that somehow. And so the gunner, if he was sitting on the thing, better beware. When he fires the thing, it's just going to jump. And so he doesn't want to have his eyes right up against the sights when he does, because he might wound himself in the process. But it was a very good battle. So 2 first ace tankers, one after the other, and both tank destroyers, one a British one and one an American one. Both of them premiums. You can actually buy a Scorpion because it's not, it's one that is in the gift shop every now and then. But the Excalibur, you have to work to get that one. So quite interesting to see 2 tank destroyer ace tankers in a row. Hope you enjoyed those replays. If you did, please give this video a like, and thank you for watching.